In today's video, I want to discuss the topic of how do you fly under the radar when you're flipping items from eBay to Amazon? I get asked all the time, Steve, how are you flipping items from eBay to Amazon without getting suspended, without getting Section 3'd, without getting deactivated? And in today's video, I wanted to share with you the top things that I do to keep my account safe when I'm buying items on eBay and flipping them on Amazon. Now, keep in mind, if you're currently thrifting, going to garage sales, flea markets, or maybe you're even selling stuff from around your house on Amazon, there's really no difference at all with doing that versus flipping items from eBay to Amazon. So many of the principles that I share in today's video are also going to apply if you're thrifting, hitting garage sales, or selling stuff from around your house. And yes, that includes going to library sales as well. And if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Steve. I go by Rake and Profit, and I buy and resell items that I buy on eBay.com, and I flip them on Amazon. Matter of fact, in the last 5 years, I've sold over 30,000 products for over $2 million. And that includes used books, brand new DVDs, brand new board games, used board games, electronics, tools, office supplies, pretty much anything and everything that you can flip, I've done it. Now, one of the things that I've noticed over the last couple of years is it's becoming more and more difficult to find products at thrift stores and garage sales and library sales. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still tons of deals that you could find out there, but more often than not, a lot of these resellers who are going to places like I just mentioned are struggling to get to $10,000 a month and beyond. And that's where sourcing from eBay to flip on Amazon becomes very attractive, because the benefit of going to thrift stores and whatnot is you could find items dirt cheap. The downside is there's limited amounts of inventory depending on if Goodwill brought out new stuff, if people donated, maybe there's a bunch of competition, or what I like to call thrift store vultures who are beating you to the punch. The best part about sourcing on eBay is there's unlimited amounts of opportunity, and on eBay, you can make best offers. Now, while this is very exciting to be able to source an unlimited amount of inventory on eBay, people are really scared about getting deactivated, getting suspended. So I want to share with you in this video the 10 things that I do to keep my account safe. I have a perfect health score right now. It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect forever because Amazon is crazy in 2025, but my account is clean and I've sold over $700,000 in the last 12 months. Just in the last 2 months, I've sold over $100,000. Now, before we get into this video and I break down the 10 things that you can do to keep your account healthy and fly under the radar, I wanted to mention that I just created a free product. It's 100% free and it's called 250 eBay to Amazon replens. So if you're interested in getting a list of 250 items that I buy and flip on Amazon that you can too, check the link down below. It's 100% free and you could go out and jumpstart your success flipping from eBay to Amazon. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video. Tip number one, if you're going to flip items from eBay to Amazon and you want to fly under the radar, you've got to make sure to go after products that aren't super duper popular. Now, if you come from the world of traditional retail arbitrage, going to Walmart and Target, or maybe you're doing traditional online arbitrage, sourcing from, different online retailers, you're probably used to buying items that are selling $300 a month, $500 a month, Nike shoes and socks selling $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. When it comes to eBay to Amazon, you don't want to do that. And again, the same applies if you're going to thrift stores. Now, you might ask why? It's because we do not have invoices. So you want to make sure that you're going after products where the brands don't really care about the product. They're not going to be hiring law firms to attack you, to give you IP complaints. You want to focus on products that it's almost like the brands forgot about them because maybe they're 5, 10, 15 years old. And I'll put a screenshot to a video that I recorded recently on my YouTube channel. I've got a whole bunch of them where I share different items that I flipped from eBay to Amazon. Also, again, you could download my free list of 250 profitable items you could flip from eBay to Amazon. But I want you to get a feel for the types of products I'm going after. These items might only be selling 3, 4, 5, 10 times a month. Do not go after the most current, super popular, in the store, at the Apple Store, Best Buy types of products. Those are the types of products where the brands are watching you. They're concerned. They might have legal teams that will attack you to protect their ASINs and protect their profitability. So that's the number one biggest piece of advice that I could give is go after items that I would say are only selling 5, 10, 15 times a month. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but that's just a general rule. Tip number two to fly under the radar flipping items from eBay to Amazon is to make sure that you're not selling products where the brand is on the listing. So one tool that I highly recommend is SellerAmp. And SellerAmp has a Chrome extension that you could pull up when you click on a specific sales page. And not only does SellerAmp help you to do product research, calculate your profit, calculate your ROI, but also you'll be able to see a list of all the sellers who are currently selling it, and you can take a peek to see if the brand is on the listing. Usually the brand will name their Amazon storefront the brand. So if you see, for example, a specific brand on the listing, maybe there's a brand called Green Bears, I'm just making that up, and you see Green Bears on the listing, then don't sell that item. If the brand is on the listing, you have a much higher chance of getting an intellectual property complaint or an IP complaint. And keep in mind, the more IP complaints you get, the lower your Amazon health score will become, and eventually you could get suspended. So you just want to stay away from selling any item on Amazon if you don't have direct wholesale invoices or really good receipts. You just want to avoid selling those items entirely, from thrift stores, eBay to Amazon, so on and so forth. Tip number 3 to fly under the radar is to use a tool called IP Alert. So I'll put a link on the screen, rakeandprofit.com/IP Alert. And I believe I have a discount code as well. If I do, I'll put it on the screen. But IP Alert is great because when you land on a sales page of a product, IP Alert has a database worth of products, and pretty much over the years, they've compiled a list of brands or specific ASINs which have been known to give IP complaints. So if you're flipping items from eBay to Amazon and you're not familiar with a brand, you're not familiar with a product, if IP Alert tells you that it's a high chance of being an IP complaint, and there'll be a little pop-up, I'll show you a notification on the screen right now, I would just stay away from that item. Again, there are exceptions to the rule, and there are some items where IP Alert warns me and I still sell it, but that's because I have years of experience selling that particular product. And in a couple of minutes, I'll share with you another method for avoiding IP complaints. It has to do with Keepa, but for now, IP Alert, that's a great tool. I'd highly recommend getting a lifetime subscription for it. I use it every single day. Again, I don't live and die by it, but it's a great way to identify products that don't fly under the radar. Tip number 4, and this applies to thrifting, library sales, eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon flipping. If you're going to sell books in 2025, you need to make sure to use what's known as the Books Run Counterfeit Calculator. Now, I'll put a little B-roll on the screen, but essentially what you want to make sure you do in order to not sell books, especially textbooks that are likely to be counterfeit, you want to make sure that you get the ISBN number and you paste it into Books Run Counterfeit Calculator. If it tells you that the item is likely or very likely to be a counterfeit, you do not want to sell that item. I don't care how profitable it is. I don't care if you only paid $1 or $2. I'm telling you right now, there are people who are getting sued, who are getting hit with settlements, whatever it is you want to call it. I know people have paid $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to settle to get their Amazon account back because a publisher literally sued them. If you're going to flip from eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon thrifting, all of the above, and sell books, make sure you always run it through Books Run Counterfeit Calculator. I'm going crazy right now because this is super duper important. Tip number 5, if you're going to flip DVDs from eBay to Amazon, in order to fly under the radar, as I like to call it, and again, this isn't 100% perfect system. There are still ways that you can get in trouble, and there's no 100% way to be safe on Amazon in 2025. I mean, I know private label sellers, online arbitrage sellers. I know people who have freaking invoices who manufacture their own products that are still getting kicked off, and Amazon's not accepting the invoices. It's absolutely insane. But if you're going to flip DVDs on Amazon, follow these tips. Tip number 1, if you're going to buy a DVD off of eBay, make sure that the DVD is over a 20,000 rank. Again, that's a general rule of thumb, but I've noticed DVDs that are less than 20,000 rank, especially if they're complete series, complete season DVDs, those are the ones that are highly likely to be counterfeit. Also, if you're going to buy DVDs from eBay, especially if they're new, make sure that there's not a bunch of eBay sellers selling multiple quantities of 3, 5, 10, or unlimited quantities. Those are typically the DVDs that are going to be highly likely to be counterfeit, and a lot of times they are counterfeit. Also, another tip, if you're considering buying a DVD and you're like, this seller kind of looks sketchy, this DVD is like on the fence, maybe it's a 25,000 rank, go into the eBay seller store and check out the other DVDs they're selling. If it looks like a natural store where they're selling like clothes and some used items and a couple new DVDs and some are slow selling, some are fast, that's fine. But what you want to be aware of are the eBay sellers who have like 300 DVDs in their store. They're all like 3, 4, 5,000 rank. Those are super sketchy. Those are probably bootleg counterfeited DVDs. So stay away from those items. Also, guys, I do have a free guide that I've created. It's called the DVD Prevention Guide. I do have this inside of my eBay to Amazon Masterclass 2.0, but I want to put a link down below and give this to you guys for free. Because I'm telling you right now, if you're going to flip DVDs, I don't care if they're from thrift stores, from eBay, from Amazon, wherever, make sure you go through this guide so you can identify which ones are counterfeits and stay away from them. Because remember, we want to fly under the radar. And it looks like I jumped ahead of myself because tip number 6 was use my DVD prevention guide. So again, I'll link that up down below. Make sure to download that. I believe it's a Google Doc or Google Slides. I created it about a year ago, but I spent a lot of time. My virtual assistants use this. So every time they're considering buying a DVD, they make sure to use the information that's inside of this prevention guide. So again, this is 100% free. And I might as well mention as well, I do have an eBay to Amazon Facebook group. So if you have any more questions about DVDs or flipping from eBay to Amazon, you can check out my eBay to Amazon Facebook group down below. That is 100% free. Tip number 7, and I know I already mentioned this, but I want to mention it again and give you an example, is you want to make sure that you're going after items that are not only slower selling, but just older, discontinued. They could be vintage. And I know I mentioned this before, but I put this as number 7 because I know this isn't going to go through some people's heads. And I want to be very, very clear. It's okay to sell a brand like Sony. Some people might say, oh, Sony's going to give you an IP. Don't sell Sony. Sony's the worst. Like, I think even IP Alert might even say not to sell Sony. The thing is, not all products within a brand are created equally. For example, like I mentioned before, Sony might give you an IP complaint on a brand new set of Sony headphones that are selling $7,000 a month. They just hit the stores. They're in Best Buy. They're in Apple. Obviously, the people who are in charge of, running the brand and the Amazon account, they're going to be super concerned with an ASIN like that because you're taking money right out of their pocket. But if you're going to sell an old Sony cassette player or a Sony CD player, I flipped cassette players and CD players for $150, $200, $300, flipping them from eBay to Amazon. I'm telling you right now, there's nobody who's going to give you a hard time. They're not going to hit you with a counterfeit. You're not going to get hit with an IP complaint from the brand, right? It's just not going to happen. Now, of course, never say never because you're selling on Amazon. But again, I'm trying to mitigate risk. It's similar. And I always give this example. It's like if you're driving somewhere and you're, going to an appointment or going to a grocery store or going to a friend's house and you're driving in your car, there's no 100% way to be safe. But of course, you can mitigate the risk by putting on a seatbelt, by keeping your head on a swivel, by just not assuming when you go through the intersection that a car is not going to fly through a red light. So you're doing everything you can to be safe. It's the same with eBay to Amazon. We're doing the best we can to fly under the radar. It doesn't mean it's like if you're going to war, right? You could fly under the radar. Maybe radar doesn't see you, but there could be people hiding in the woods shooting at you because, the radar didn't pick you up, but there's other people. Like there's ways to get in trouble. That's a silly example, but we're trying to fly under the radar. We're trying to mitigate the risk. So tip number 7 is focus on older, discontinued, vintage items that just probably aren't in the store anymore and the brands just don't care about. Tip number 8 to fly under the radar is you want to make sure that you utilize Keepa. Okay. So I told you before, IP Alert is great. IP Alert has a database of a bunch of products and brands that are likely to give you an IP complaint. Again, it's not perfect. But one tip that I always give people when they're starting off with eBay to Amazon and maybe people who are starting to use Replen Catcher. If you haven't heard of Replen Catcher, that's the tool that I developed and I use to source all of my deals from eBay to flip on Amazon. It helps me to look through over 2 million products that I can flip from eBay to Amazon, pretty much all of the categories. Plus, I could track my own custom replens list 24/7 around the clock with Replen Catcher. But that's besides the point. Before I buy an item or my team buys an item, we always go into Keepa and we take a look at the history of sellers on the listing. So we want to see that there's a history of maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 sellers on a listing. And what I'm looking for on the Keepa chart is to make sure there's no sharp drop-offs. I don't want 20 people on the listing and then all of a sudden, boom, there's one seller on the listing for a month, right? Where did they all go? Why did they get kicked off? Is it high pricing errors? Was there an IP complaint? I don't know, but I stay away from listings like that. I want to find listings where there's 3, 4, 5, and then 6, and then goes down to 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then maybe 8, and then 5. Like, of course, I want it to be more consistent just because the prices will, tank less. Like if, for example, if you're on a listing and there's 3 sellers on the listing and then all of a sudden there's 20, the price is going to tank because it's supply and demand. There's all this supply, the demand stays the same, the price is going to tank, right? The opposite is true as well. If you have 10 sellers on a listing and then all of a sudden the demand stays the same, but the supply goes down, the price is probably going to stay the same or increase, right? So the overall message is take a look to see how many sellers are on the listing, right? You want to have a listing where there's previous sellers on the listing. And I'll just jump into tip number 9 right now is you could also go into Keepa and check the buy box statistics and you can see the history of what sellers have been on the listing specifically. And I mean, you could just see who else is selling it. And the eBay to Amazon community is very small. So you'll start to get a feel for your competitors, who's buying items from eBay and flipping it on Amazon. So if you see them on the listing, you see a lot of eBay to Amazon flippers on the listing. And again, you could go into Keepa and look at the buy box history and see the sellers over 30, 90, 180 days, 1 year, you could get a feel for who's on the listing. And if you see a lot of, eBay to Amazon flippers on the listing, that can definitely give you a lot more confidence when you're buying an item, and will help you to fly under the radar because other people are flipping it. And another thing to look out for is just to make sure, like, if you're like, wow, this item's maybe a little more popular than I thought, I'm not sure. I see there's consistent sellers, but maybe you see the price is at like 60 for the whole year. And you're like, why is it such a straight line? Like, what's going on with this? A lot of time that's map pricing, and those might be wholesalers on the listing. So I usually stay away from listings like that as well, when there's maybe 8 or 9 or 10 sellers and the price is all the same and it doesn't change, and it's kind of funny. Again, it's map pricing. There's like rules. Sometimes the manufacturers or the owners will say, hey, okay, we'll sell this to a bunch of wholesalers, maybe 5 or 10, but you guys all have to price it at this price. So the buy box rotates equally. I stay away from those listings because, and you can usually identify them because a lot of these sellers have like 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 reviews, but I stay away from those listings because they're more likely to get an IP complaint because there's real money on the table. There's real people with stock and inventory. Whereas like the items I'm going after, there's people selling it, but everybody has like one quantity, right? It's rare, it's discontinued, it's not in the stores. There's not like wholesalers and online arbitrage sellers with a whole bunch of it. Like, you're not going to be getting attacked and having heat on your back. So that's number 9. And then last but not least, stick to proven replens. This is why I love using the Replen Catcher software, because I can literally upload my entire replens list to Replen Catcher and track and monitor these items 24/7. And a really cool feature of Replen Catcher, this new feature just came out, is if you've sold the item before, the background will actually be gold, and it'll share with you what you sold the item previously for, which gives you more confidence to buy the item. If you've sold an item 5, 10, 15, 20 times and you've never gotten in trouble, you're most likely not going to get in trouble in the future. So stick to the products that you've sold before. Stick to the products that you're confident with. Stick to the products that you know you haven't had any issues with. And while other people hesitate and worry, you buy it quickly because you've got the confidence, you've got the data to back it up. Now, again, Replen Catcher doesn't just allow you to track all your own items. There's a live stream with over 2 million products. So even if you don't have a replens list, you can use Replen Catcher to source hundreds of deals without a replens list. Plus, inside Replen Catcher, you can actually integrate your Replen Catcher account to your Amazon account and pull in all of your Amazon orders and add those items into your Replen area to track 24/7. I'm telling you guys right now, Replen Catcher is a game changer, and that's how we source 100% of our deals. So guys, hopefully this video helped you out. I know this was a long-winded video, but I wanted to give you 10 tips to be able to fly under the radar. And I've said before, there's no perfect 100% way to stay 100% safe. Amazon is, it's challenging nowadays, and you've got to be careful. And sometimes you could do everything right and they're still going to screw you. But this is how I mitigate my risk. And again, if you're interested in getting started with eBay to Amazon, check out the free 250 eBay to Amazon replens list down below. Join our Facebook group, check out Replen Catcher. And if you have any more questions, feel free to comment down below. I'm in the trenches doing this every single day. So, I'll do my best to answer all your questions. And if I don't have an answer, I'll go out and get it for you. So with that being said, smash that like button. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.